All right, we're live.
Hello, I'm Matt Bergman, and you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 228. I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman,
That's me.
Philip Dassing,
He, him, point of personal privilege.
Alexia Schlegel,
Hello, everybody.
and John Good Vibes.
What up?
John, welcome back, John.
Thank you.
I feel like it's been forever, dude.
It's been a while.
Alex has had a hard time maintaining an erection since you're gone. So,
True story.
Yeah.
I thought you should know, dude.
John is basically Viagra.
Well, you know,
Yep.
we are cut from the same tinfoil.
The same Reynolds wrap.
Yeah. Speaking of tinfoil, I feel like in the past couple days, everybody has gone tinfoil because nobody believes that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself while under suicide watch in this maximum security facility. And I heard that he's in the room next to El Chapo, or he was in the room next to El Chapo. Does anybody know that?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was in the room next to El Chapo.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know. Yeah.
El Chapo did it.
And when I heard that, I thought somebody was joking, but then I heard no, he was actually in the room next to El Chapo.
Well, he was
Yeah.
also in the room with some crazy ass former cop who killed like 4 or 5 drug dealers and buried them in his front lawn or his back lawn or something like that. They were buried in his yard.
Yeah.
And he was like roomed with the guy around the first alleged attack or suicide attempt, which he apparently told a bunch of people was not a suicide attempt and shit. He told people that he was being attacked.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's according to a Washington Post journalist said that.
Oh,
I forget
shit.
what her name. It was like Doctor something or other.
Well, if it's not
some shit
CNN,
that was going around.
I'm saying if it's not CNN.
Did it really happen?
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, that was the thing that one of the things that got me the most livid.
Oh yeah, you're
Was
fired
like-
up about that.
Yeah, dude, because I woke up in the morning and I got on Facebook and right away I saw this article, from CNN that said, Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Jeffrey Epstein suicided, and then I clicked on it and the news anchor said. It said this is justice regarding the suicide. Like he's trying to put people's minds at ease. And it's like, no, fuck you. Everybody said that he was going to get murdered and they were going to make it look like a suicide. Everybody said that.
Yeah, that
So-
was predicted by everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially the victims' lawyers too.
So now it seems like even the most normalist of people have become like a conspiracy theorist because, I mean, really, the true story, well, not the true story, the quote-unquote true story that's given by CNN, really, that's the conspiracy.
Yeah, that's the one that really, because there's no evidence for it and it seems ridiculous,
Yeah, especially when everybody had been calling it,
Yeah, I mean, you would think when everybody was kind of predicting that they would have had him under extreme surveillance, where I'm talking like video 24/7, to where they have some shit to show people like this is the moment he killed himself. But there's gonna be no footage of that. You know
what's weird to me too? It's like one of my normie friends who's who's become like an extreme hardcore Democrat, especially since Donald Trump, right? He commented on the post I made about Epstein. He's like, "Why do you care about this? Why do you care about Epstein so much?" And it's just like, whoa, dude. I mean, can't you comprehend the thousands of people that he could bring down with him? The thousands of people who are creating victims. It's why would you not care about this a lot? And he's obviously killed by one of those people.
Well, that's one, I guess, kind of promising thing that I've been seeing is that people from all around the spectrum or the square or what have you are very skeptical of this. I mean, there's different degrees of what people are questioning. I think everyone's questioning whether it was a suicide or not. I did see some people. Did you guys see the picture that came out of his dead body on the gurney?
Alleged
Dead body. And then I just saw, and you can pretty clearly see his face. It's a very high-res photo. So you zoom in on his face, and then they were comparing that with a live, an actual picture of him rotated, and like the nose looked different.
Was that real though?
Like,
Was that like a real picture though? I couldn't tell because all I could see was zoomed in.
I mean,
I
it was
see like the actual picture, only the zoom in of the face.
I saw the actual picture. Yeah,
Okay.
It was on New York Post. It was on New York Post.
Yeah, it was on New York Post.
Okay,
I mean-
so I'm going to talk about another thing. I don't have the full documents on this, but maybe somebody else saw this.
Okay.
So apparently there was a guard that worked in the prison, right, where he was being kept, the maximum security facility.
You talking about that 4chan post?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. There's no credibility. Like
Yeah, but the weird thing is, it was posted like wasn't it posted like an hour or like 15 minutes before? Like
Yeah,
like
it
they
was a
found
few
out?
hours before.
Yeah, I mean it was like pretty close to it.
I didn't know about the timeline.
yeah, I mean somebody. I feel like that shit can.
It was close, but before.
So what? It was before the.
It was before the news broke. Yes.
Yeah. I shared it into the group.
I mean,
There was a lot
it could very well be that somebody just said that and it just so happened that he died. I mean, the coincidences do happen.
Yeah, I mean it could also be that somebody that had an inside scoop on it, because you got to think that like something like that it's going to get around to a couple hundred people before it hits the news at the very least.
Right,
if
sure.
not thousands of people before it hits the New York Times.
And they could have like been like, oh, let me hop on 4chan and
yeah,
just, like, troll
whether
people.
it was like a paramedic that was a troll or some shit, or it could be real. I'm not saying it's not.
It's
just hard to tell.
I got a tweet within the last hour. This is, I don't recognize who the person, but he has a blue check mark on Twitter. It says, New York medical examiner released a statement after completing the autopsy of Jeffrey Epstein. His determination is that Jeffrey Epstein's cause of death is, quote, pending further information at this time, end quote.
Interesting.
Huh.
That's weird.
Why would you even come out and say anything?
Yeah.
Why not just wait until
We're
know?
just coming out to say something.
We're just saying we don't know
gonna
yet.
Say something.
Well, maybe they
mean-
need to test toxicology, stuff like that. I mean,
Maybe.
I know that usually you could figure that stuff out pretty quickly because I actually used to be in that industry. But usually there are things that they, like medical things that they'll test for that take a little bit longer of a time. So there's a possibility of that. But I'm pretty sure that they have to gather a death certificate within a certain amount of hours of it happening. And they got to put something on the death certificate after the autopsy. And a lot of times it's updated. But this is a situation where, like, it might not ever be updated. Or it might be and the public never hears about it.
I think anybody that comes forth about anything, be prepared for stories coming out like single car crashes,
right?
You know,
yeah. So
mysterious deaths,
yeah,
of people
suicided.
disappearing, or
God damn it,
you know, because I mean that's probably coming. So maybe that's why, like, you know, anybody that they put something out that they're looking into this, but they don't want to put any names out there or really put anything together yet, because it's like, who's the fucking trust right now?
Yeah, you know, and I was talking to my normie friend, and then he was all like,
his name is actually Norm.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, well, I was talking to Norm. We'll just call him Norm. And so I was talking to Norm.
Your neighbor Norm.
And and he was saying like, yeah. So why are you so concerned? He's like, I got news for you. These rich people are gonna like be able to do whatever they want regardless. And then I'm like, well, yeah, they are. That's the golden rule. He is the gold makes the rules. So, and you're saying that they're able to do whatever they want, but you're also saying that there's no way that this rich guy could have balled his way out of prison.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the reason we care is because it's an obvious fucking example of the corruption of the system on every single fucking level of this story.
Well,
like,
I mean,
you have this crazy billionaire dude who's like flying out all these politicians and other powerful people out to rape kids, and then, you know, he fucking gets away with it for all these years because of all these fucking crazy political favors and paying people off and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then when he finally gets caught, all this crazy shit happens where everybody knows that he is going to get taken out because of how powerful the people are.
We've been joking about it for months.
Yeah, it's been a running joke, and it fucking happens. You know, so it's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, it's almost like how bold do they have to be to, you know?
Right.
Well, I would say that about a lot of conspiracy theories, but
I mean, you never know how many people were involved. I mean, just the fact, just in the short amount of time when this all broke a couple months ago, and we were all speculating like this probably going to happen, is just the flight logs. Like how many times, like who was flying to that island?
With no Secret Service, man.
Right?
It was
You
Bill
had
Clinton.
Well, wasn't
27 times with Bill Clinton. There was like a lot of those photos.
Yeah, but I mean,
wasn't it like Bill Maher?
Trump-
but dude,
Trump
Bill
had ties.
because the Mar-Lago place was one of his bases for recruiting and hooking up women, or not women, I'm sorry, like underage girls with these creepy ass dudes and shit. Like that fucking his golf place in Florida was apparently one of the bases for this shit. And like the Trump supporters will say, "Oh, he kicked him out of there and stuff." Yeah, he kicked him out of there after the dude was already a registered sex offender. So like if you're Donald Trump and you're like trying to make a name or like keep your reputation decent, when one of your homeboys is a registered sex offender, you're going to distance yourself publicly from them, and every one of your advisors or fucking publicists are going to tell you to do that, and that's what you're going to do. And that's probably exactly what
Well, I believe he admits to going to the island, but he says that he didn't participate.
I didn't inhale.
He didn't ejaculate.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't ejaculate, yeah. He only got the tip.
And there was a couple members of the media, like 3 hosts on CNN, that were on the flight records too.
Really?
And the Prince fucking Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So just
So
the
the
fact
Queen
that
did it.
Yeah.
right,
Like
I mean,
this goes to the
Yeah.
highest level of
Right.
power in the world. And
Yeah.
shit.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And your neighbor, your friend Norm is just like, what's the big deal? Like, what the fuck's the big deal? Like, seriously?
but yeah, and the other layer of corruption that it shows is the fact that he was killed under that maximum security, and nobody has anything to say about
Shouldn't
it.
that shouldn't that say something to you
Right?
guys? Like in and of itself, the fact that he died and the 24, like he should have been under 24/7 watch in a high max security prison. Like this is insane. Whether regardless of conspiracy theory or not, the fact that this was able to happen just shows you the ineptitude and just the ignorance of people in this prison industrial complex.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, what did he use? His shirt?
What? Yeah, what did he use?
Yeah, because
what happened?
His bed sheet?
You know, I mean, think
Does that look
about
like a dude who's
how
hung now?
many.
in that picture.
Huh?
I mean, I've never seen a person in real life that was...
Was hung, wouldn't his face be
I mean, I
like more
guess I have.
purple and like?
It was,
I don't know.
and you
I don't
know, no, like I said, I was an apprentice mortician for many years, and because it took me a really long time to get through school, and I eventually actually dropped out of college, so
Yeah.
I was like an apprentice mortician for
That's
like
awesome.
4 or 5, 6 years or some shit. But anyway,
Wow.
like that,
That's
it
pretty wild.
sometimes it does distort the face, but not that much.
Okay.
But would it turn... So, did you see the picture?
Yeah, it would have turned purple.
It would have turned
like
like...
that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me.
People said, "All
But-
right, R.I.P. to the homeless man with similar attributes." To
But he would have
Jeffrey
had to
Epstein.
been like, it looked real. The body looked real, but
Yeah.
it didn't look like his body.
Exactly.
That's the other thing
Weird.
too, is the fact that all these they knew him, they associated with him. He's been running in these circles of like politicians,
Yeah.
the media, the elite, and yet nobody really knows like where did he get his money from? Like where, like I
Actually,
don't know.
They do
His-
kind of know that. He was
But it-
basically like put in charge of a hedge fund. He has connections with like Bob Barr's dad, like Bob Barr. By the way, I didn't realize the Bob Barr that's now the what is he, like this
Attorney General?
Attorney General is the same Bob Barr that ran for the Libertarian ticket.
Wow.
Really? I was
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. I was like
That's
totally
weird.
unaware of that.
Yeah, I'm
Been
pretty sure
flying
it's the
under
same
radar.
guy.
I don't think so.
I don't know. We'll have to
Someone check
We'll
that
have to
for
look
me
at
because
the
I
docs,
swear
yeah.
I looked it up while drunk once, and
All right.
because my friend was trying to tell me like
But you,
I don't know. Anyways,
with
I digress.
with this like alleged suicide and stuff, think about how many people out there in the world would like to kill like one of these mass shooter assholes that are in jail or awaiting court and stuff. Think about how hated they are. You know what I mean? But nobody gets to them. You know, and really, a lot of people hated Jeffrey Epstein, but I think that not many people in the world really wanted him dead yet.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
wow.
people wanted him to to suffer. They wanted his victims to see justice and stuff like that. The only people that wanted him dead were the people that wanted him silenced.
Sure.
It's the same Bob Barr. You were right. Holy
That is
shit.
crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is really
Yeah, that
crazy.
totally flew under the radar. I was like,
How did I not? I don't know. I was so new to the party or like libertarianism.
So Attorney General is
Had
a
no clue.
prosecutor, right?
Let me find out what his exact
Because
title
that
is right
I
now.
think that's a prosecutor, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really,
Attorney General. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, the minutia of statism I'm not too good with sometimes, but yeah, if that's the case, I don't really think it's very libertarian to be a prosecutor. A lawyer, sure, but not a prosecutor.
Yeah, well, that dude actually voted for the Patriot Act as a Republican in Congress.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't know much about him.
Yeah, so, I mean, he wasn't very libertarian to begin with.
Oh, he was one of these, like the rest of them, most of them that run for office.
we know it's not the same
That's
person.
not. Yeah, I'm
No,
just looking
it's
at no.
not.
It's not.
It's
the same
William
person.
William Barr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it. I was just
know
like looking. I've read.
Yeah.
It was the
I looked at the
link.
picture. I'm like, that's not. It doesn't look.
I'm
like him.
fucking
Fake
stupid.
fucking
I
news.
know.
I'm fucking
fake
stupid.
news.
We're gonna catch another ban for this.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Jared spreading fake news with his drunken research.
Yeah, my
Damn
bad.
it! You made me look stupid, Jared.
But anyways, it was Bill Barr's dad who has the connection with Jeffrey Epstein. He put him in charge of, like, I don't know. I'd have to go get the docs, but basically he just his whole thing was just schmoozing people, and somehow he schmoozed himself to the head of a hedge fund, and that's how he became
But
like
didn't
a
he teach
billionaire.
a course?
Well, yeah, he was a teacher. He used to
But
be.
he didn't go to college. I thought.
But there was
That's the
some
thing.
was some suspicion that he blackmailed one of his, like, the dean of the fucking school or some shit.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And
Yeah.
managed to progress his way through the top of everything.
Yeah.
And apparently he was an expert blackmailer, which makes a whole lot of fucking sense.
Yeah.
Especially if the theory is correct that he was connected to intelligence agencies.
Jared, we turn to you
But-
on this one.
I'm saying.
Even if he was connected to intelligence agencies, I do think that he did do some, like, freelance scamming, blackmailing of his own. I think that was just... I think that intelligence agencies were just one of his many fucking scams that he had running. And he worked for himself. His alliance was to his own, self-destructive fucking, or everybody destructive
Yeah.
lifestyle and shit, not to any specific government, but like he used them and they used him. That's my theory on it. That's my
It makes sense. Yeah.
I remember, like,
Well, the
early
dude's a
on-
super egotist too.
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
he was a Mossad agent. Jared, can you confirm or deny this?
I don't know anything.
Yeah,
about
what are your
that.
people telling you?
I mean, give us the inside track, Jared.
I can either confirm
you
or
mean?
deny.
What you mean,
but no, I
Alex?
heard about that too. That
Wait, he was
could
a
be
Mossad agent?
Yeah,
that
he
he
could
could be
be.
a foreign agent. That he could be a Mossad. Like,
he
the
did
fact
have that passport.
and
That's.
the fact
I have
that
a passport too, dude. I'm not.
Well,
looking
But
for
it was,
one.
it was a Saudi Arabian passport with a different name, and the only way you get that is being. They said that it connect you to is being a Mossad
Yeah, but
agent.
if this dude is like hustling,
I mean, if he's a blackmail, like,
but
wouldn't
no,
that
but if
be,
he's
the
got like
perfect-
Saudi princes coming to his island, I'm sure he could get a
Yeah.
fucking passport from
I
him.
don't know, man.
I don't think he has to be a Mossad agent.
I heard a lot of
I don't
people I
know.
trust saying stuff like that.
Figure,
so-
I
like-
mean, the thing is like what there is.
Why would they kill him then?
There, I believe
might have turned state
wholeheartedly
witness or
that
something.
he probably provided information to the Mossad, but does that make you
Yeah,
a Mossad agent?
maybe an asset or
Yeah.
agent. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah,
Maybe an
I
asset.
feel like he was like, if you're thinking about like a low-level law enforcement situation where you're dealing with like street drugs and the drug war and shit like that, I feel like he was more of a CI than a detective. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a lot of times when you say a Mossad agent, you think you went through military training, you're in the fucking on the payroll,
Yeah.
the above board payroll.
Hunt
He was
Nazis in
probably
South
on
America.
the black payroll.
he was
like,
he was off the books.
yeah, he was
was
off the books, and he would just provide information for them as a freelancer.
So that's where the missing $7 billion went to in the Pentagon.
Yeah, dude. I mean, think about it, right? Like, if you had all that dirt as a foreign, like, to use against like other countries, those in positions of power, to be like, hey, I have like to have all that information, and like you said, like he could be like career blackmail. Like, how did he get to these positions? Where did he get his funding? Where did he get his money? The fact, like,
here's a question.
know?
So he's a sophisticated blackmailer. That's his like trade, basically. Why doesn't he have some sort of failsafe? You know, like they do in the fucking
Dead man
movies.
switch kind of deal.
Yeah, dead man switch. Where if he dies, you know, if he's not updating the code every fucking hour or whatever, or something like that. I mean, I'm sure people do that shit.
Like
It
McAfee
seems
claims
like
he
he's not the person who cares enough about other people, and I like other people enough to even like punish them when he goes down, because all he cares about is himself.
But in order to keep himself alive, he would have to. I mean, now we're just getting a straight up conjecture, but he would have to. He would have to.
That's the way I like it.
He would have to make them believe that, you know, if he dies, his shit's gonna get released. Now he could have just lied to them. You know, could just be like, yeah, I have this source. I can't tell you, but if you try to kill me, blah blah blah. But then maybe they found out he was full of shit and they killed him anyways, or they don't care, or
he was
who
kept
knows?
alive. Ethan brought it up. He's like the FBI, CIA. They're like, this guy has so much dirt. He has so much information. We're gonna allow him to like continue to, you know, operate. Allow you to continue to like. We know what you're doing.
Kind of like
we could've
how
brought
when
you down, but like you went too far. Something got fucked up. You had to take him out. Got out of line.
Right.
kind of like how when like a hacker like tries getting into Google and they catch him and they give him a job, kind of deal.
Hack the planet.
Except this hacker was like touching kids too.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, yeah.
Right, and the fact that like, wouldn't they have the most maximum security? You know, the fact that given what he was arrested for, what he's brought down for, that they would have
So
like that
messed up.
You know, like that they wouldn't have, like you were saying, Phil, like 24/7 monitoring. Like this guy would be.
Well, especially if he's
constantly
already
within
allegedly tried
eyesight.
to kill himself before.
Yeah, right. That too.
Like
And the
you would
fact
think,
that-
like, all right, well, we just gotta watch him.
Someone changed the definition on Wikipedia of suicide watch.
Yeah.
They're like it says
thing,
unless you're
yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein.
I really don't even think that if he went through with the trial that he was looking at a significant amount of time. From the
I
charges.
thought this would either go away or end like this.
Because of the fact that, like, unfortunately, like, when those crimes are, like, I from what I read, there was a deal he could have worked out and shit like that. So, like, I don't think that he was a person who was, like, without hope. That didn't have hope anymore. And was
Now,
off.
I heard too, wasn't a bunch of stuff released like the day before?
Yeah, yeah.
Literally the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
About
something that-
senators
1,000 pages or
being
something.
Yeah.
senators being sent to the you know, the
The island.
Bohemian Grove.
no,
No,
not
his,
not them the girls sent to the senators, not the senators sent to the island. And the Mar-a-Lago thing came out that day too, where he was like running shit out of there.
Wow.
So do we think they're still gonna get anybody? I mean, there's obviously documents out there. Right?
There's all, I mean, and now like people are looking at that one lady that was involved with that charity or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Hillary Clinton.
Nah, that woman with the short hair.
The Clinton
No,
Foundation.
you said woman. All right,
She
yeah.
was.
Oh,
Not
touche.
lizard person.
She was she was a woman that very short hair, like young, kind of younger looking woman compared to Hillary Clinton.
That's a lot of women, dude. This is very general.
Someone just commented on that tweet. It said they highlighted where it says Epstein's cause of death, and they said in quote, "Waiting for the check to clear, and they'll get back to you."
Oh
He
man,
died.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think it's every. Maybe they really jumped the shark on just going too hard this time.
I think they
when,
might
when I
have.
say they, I'm talking about the royal they, of course. The
Babylonian
Illuminati?
Brotherhood.
literal,
The Trilateral
the literal
Commission?
royal they.
The Babylonian Brotherhood. Yeah, got it.
The reptile,
Freemasons?
shapeshifters.
Time cube.
The other theory is that he just shapeshifted into a guard and walked out the thing.
Oh yeah, dude, that could have been.
That's You know,
Then how do you explain the
that's
body?
the theory that I'm currently favoring at the moment.
Well, the moon is a projection. You guys didn't know this, but the moon is a projection, which actually is a conduit to the other dimension. So it could help people switch their scaly skin can switch under because of the moon's projection. You guys didn't know that.
He could have melted down to mercury.
Like the Terminator.
Yeah, exactly.
He just slid his way out, sludged his way out, slimed his way out.
Fucking Clintons, they killed him. Anyway, I digress. This is such a shit show. Regardless, there's so many people now that there's a meme that it says like when all your normie friends are now conspiracy theorists, and it showed a picture like Michael Scott like tearing up. And I'm like, that's meme. I sent it to all my family. I said, this is you. Because they're all like on me now. They're like, you make fun of me all the time for this shit. And here you are backing this up.
I mean, if one positive comes out of it, I mean, just posting memes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of friends from all across the spectrums and normie to like woke levels, like in all spectrums are like liking and commenting. So like this is bringing so many people together with their mistrust of government. And just actually maybe thinking like,
nah, this is a blip on the radar.
I don't know.
That butcher's dozen of indoctrination years. This is just a blip. Then they'll go back to being status.
Dozen?
Yeah, call it a butcher's dozen.
It could be a blip, but I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking more people probably come out of the woodwork, or not out of the woodwork, but finally realize like
for now, and then they'll go back to their regular scheduled programming.
What's the thing?
Yeah. Maybe like another. We need another.
The news
tragedy.
cycle moves so fast.
Yeah, we need like something to come. I don't know. Maybe another.
But maybe this will at least get people to stop talking about
like,
banning guns and shit.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they were like,
too.
shit. The shootings aren't working. We scheduled 3 of them from our MK Ultra. Damn it! Now just go ahead and kill them anyway. Fuck it.
Right.
They'll believe it, right? That's pretty much how that went.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked with how long this story has stayed and just how big it has been, really. The day it happened, like every single trending thing on Twitter was about him. And the funny thing is like one of the trending Twitter tags was Clinton body count, and then the other one was Trump body count. And I was like, this is fantastic.
Right? And it was like one underneath the other.
Yeah.
It's so funny. There's I think, what is it called? The Venn diagram with the circles together.
Yeah.
What they have in common, the middle circle, or like where the 2 circles were, one was Jeffrey Epstein and one was Seth Rich, from the DNC.
Yeah.
And in the middle was Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
That was my favorite meme. Yeah, but I think it's going to be in the news cycle for a while, but ultimately nothing's going to come of this.
There was one. It's pretty dank. I'll post it in a group, but it was like the whole left authoritarian, right authoritarian, and it was just basically everywhere on the political compass. Left libertarian, Epstein was murdered. Authoritarian, right. Epstein was murdered. Authoritarian left. Epstein was murdered. And then you go down to libertarian. It's like, now's a great time to talk age of consent laws. It was some like tweet. It was some like fucking tweet.
It was Armin's.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's fucked up, but it's so.
Well, yeah, I saw one that was like that. It said actually.
Wait, I just got that. It actually is relevant.
Dude, I saw.
I'm like, oh my god.
I saw another one that was like that, except instead of that, it said, technically, it's hebophilia.
Oh my god. Fuck. Like.
That's out of control, dude.
It's like,
damn, they got us.
Yeah.
The Babylonian Brotherhood strikes again.
So, what the fuck is this Babylonian Brotherhood shit?
This is the lizard people. It's the Babylonian Brotherhood.
This is the first time I've heard that term.
So, John Vibes, it's been a while since you've been with us, but, last few times you were on, you were telling us about your new book, and that has dropped since the last time you've been on. And you also had a book release and a video game as well?
Yeah, there is a video game out with the book as well.
So the video game's out?
Yeah, it's out. Well, a beta is out. So it's like kind of shitty a little bit. I mean, it's not shitty, but like...
It needs some work.
What's it called, like Grand Theft Narco?
No. Actually, it's a part of a bigger app called Story Games. Like, so we're still working on it, and there's still some, like... pieces that need to go together. We only have like 1 or 2 chapters for each of the stories. My story is one of like 5 of them that are in there.
What is it, like Legend of Zelda meets Shaq Fu?
No, it's more of like a kind of graphic novel that you point and click through, but it's like your choose your own adventure thing. And so you get to pick the pathway or the attitude that you want to take in the game. And later we're going to add some puzzle elements in there too, but that's going to take us like a year. So basically right now what we're doing is we're letting people who are kind of familiar with our work,
pack, like a DLC.
No, it's all free anyway. You just download it for free on your phone.
Not on my flip phone.
Not on your flip phone. But on on smartphones and stuff, they have it'll be free, and we're allowing people that are already familiar with our work and kind of like supportive of what we're doing to help us test it out. And that's kind of what the beta period is now. So I mean, it is really cool. But I don't want to set anybody's expectations super high because of the fact that we're still testing out all the bugs and we're still adding all the features too.
Is it free? Is it free to get into the beta?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Settle down, Jared.
And all of the
just want our listeners to know.
I believe if all the information isn't on the website to now, I'll do it when I get home tonight. And the website for the book and everything is raveoutlaw.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the title of the book is Paper Squares and Purple Stars, My Life as a Rave Outlaw.
And this is a book that you self-released, correct?
That I what?
That you self-released this?
Yeah, I self-published it, yeah.
Wow.
After hitting up like 1,000 different literary agents and getting rejection letters from pretty much all of them.
How is it done overall?
It's done good, but I mean, I'm just starting to, because when you self-publish a book, the marketing process is a little bit different than when you
don't have this big machine like a company would have.
Yeah, and it's not like a huge, massive release. It's more like over time. You you work to promote it different places, and you work to get it out there different areas. So when this game actually gets out of beta, that'll be kind of another way to funnel sales to the book and stuff like that. And I'm hoping, to someday make this into a movie or something like that, because I think that the story is just built for it, I think. And it's one of those like true stories that I think captures an important part of our culture, which is the drug war, and an interesting part of it that people usually don't talk about, at least from the perspective of somebody who is in it or was in it. Of course, I'm retired from that now, and that's why I can write about it. I'm definitely serious, not alleged. I'm definitely retired from that. Been and for it way over 5 years, which is the statute of limitations. So I definitely figured all that out.
We're not all in danger right now, are we?
I figured all that out before I wrote the book.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
I talked to 2 different lawyers, and they were like, "Yeah, you're good. You're good." It's because it's been so long, and the cases have already pretty much been closed and stuff. So,
How long is the book?
It is like 275 pages or something like that. 250, 275 pages.
Yeah.
And actually, I got copies in my book bag here. I don't know how much people can see it, but
nice.
raveoutlaw.com is the website, and really, it's a pretty interesting story about multiple different facets of my journey through forming my rave company and kind of becoming an activist through that. And, I have dealt with reporters sneaking into events that I've been involved with and having like us on the 10 o'clock news, or places getting raided multiple times while I was, supplying the party with ecstasy and stuff like that. So there's some pretty wild shit in there. And then I was working for this club owner that like he was like pushing all these pills through this club that I was working at, and I was like what you call a house dealer, which is basically like you work in the venue, which is like a front, essentially from their perspective. And and just dealing with all that crazy shit and that crazy dude. And he ended up getting arrested, but I'm pretty sure he snitched on people because
he got out.
He got out pretty quickly, and I've heard some rumors that he snitched on people that worked for him.
Is he still alive?
Oh yeah, he's still alive. He's around. He still lives in this area.
Oh damn.
And I he's kind of just went off the map since then, you know what I mean? But prior to I talk about this in the book. Prior to buying a club, he was in a whole bunch of trouble. He was a lawyer, and he embezzled a bunch of money in some kind of crazy scheme and went to jail for a while, and he was like crazy cokehead back then. And then once he gets out of jail, he's like, "Oh, I'll just open up a nightclub." And then we come into his life, and we're like, "Hey, we're gonna do this and that with your nightclub." And then he, I guess, couldn't handle all the temptation around him and went fucking crazy. And that is one of the kind of plot arcs in the book. But there's like many of them because there's many really crazy fucking people that I dealt with. You know, I mean, the time the girl shit on the car, I think, is one of the really most laughable moments in the book. You know what I mean? But there's all sorts of stuff like that. And it's not just like a crazy counterculture Cheech and Chong like rave book. There's also a lot of, I think, operational security advice. You know what I mean? Like, there's one scene where the cops are trying to get into my house, and I'm outside telling them they can't come in. They're saying they have to go around back, and can they walk through my house? And I'm saying, no, you got to go around. So there's, things like that, and the best, how it's better to drive when it's raining if you're carrying stuff, as long as you drive safe because you're less likely to get pulled over for certain things. And there's certain dumb things that I did to cover my ass back then that I highlighted in the book and kind of explained why I did it. So that I think is very interesting too, especially when it not just when it came to the whole drug aspect, but when it came to trying to host an event with 500, 1,000 people under the radar in the middle of a city and not have anybody notice and like that kind of shit. So that was kind of fun to write too, and some people have really found that interesting because it's not really talked about too often. And I really don't think I'm ruining anything for us because, this isn't stuff that the cops can read and be like, oh, well, now I got their blueprint. It's nothing like that. But it is something that, people, I think, can help people if they are in the position that I was in to be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's a community service of sorts.
Kind of. I mean, I try to have all my writing be somewhat actionable, you know what I mean? But even though this project was a little bit more fun and a little bit less preachy maybe than my other books, and a little bit less hardcore on the philosophical end, I'm kind of sliding it in there,
Sometimes that's the best way to do it, man.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to do a lot more fiction and stuff like that.
You're going to do fiction?
Yeah. That's my next kind of projects. I'm juggling a couple of fiction ideas around because I think that, it's sometimes people aren't always looking to learn stuff, and sometimes you got to get them people somewhere. And I feel like I spent 10 years putting out this, dense kind of educational, I guess you could say, material. And maybe it's time to work on some entertaining / educational stuff, more educational than the entertainment stuff that's out
more
there
like
now.
Ayn Rand, where she would actually write a fiction and then throw her philosophy into it.
Yeah, but a little bit less boring. I mean, that thing does not need to be that many pages. I've read that thing.
Sitting
that
over there,
Atlas
right?
Shrugged right over there.
Like 3 yearbooks.
I mean,
Oh, man.
that thing, she could have done that in 300 pages.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, she could have done that.
That's
in
what
300
Tom
pages.
Wood's rule is. Not at one page over 300.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, look,
Yeah.
I'd never heard that rule, but it's I think it's probably dead on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely an interesting time in my life, and when I was, I never really thought about writing on that stuff, even though I think Matt, the first time we met when we were in that car ride on the way to Porkfest, and I was blazing the whole way down.
Well, that wasn't the first time we met. I think the first time we met in person was like a year before that.
That was the first time we really got to like chill in a setting where there wasn't a whole bunch of people around and really get to know each other.
Right,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And that, I think, I was talking about that shit, and you were like, "You should write a book about this, man, because this story's fucking crazy." And a couple people told me over the years, but it wasn't until I had cancer and I was, pretty much at my wit's end, which my last resort was listening to the doctors and going in treatment and shit. And like when I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it or not, I was like, I want this fucking story to be told. And I was just like really high in the hospital one day, and I just pulled out my laptop and started writing about this island party that was crazy as fuck, and like this dude died, and then I met this dude that was like my connection to everything, and hooked me up with like all these opportunities, and that started this crazy path for me. And then like it was that whole day I just was writing that shit, and then I was like, I'm gonna turn this shit into a fucking book, and that is what I have now.
Nice.
So the only thing I'll add is an explanation of the title. Do you guys get the title, Paper Squares and Purple Stars? You know what that is?
Isn't it paper square like acid or
LSD.
something?
That's
Yeah, that's acid.
What's the purple star?
Yeah, I don't know the purple star.
So the Purple Stars were our signature e-pills that we were running out of this club that was actually not too far from here. And it was kind of like our Heisenberg Blue, you know what I mean? How that in Breaking Bad was like their product.
Signature, yeah.
So yeah, the Purple Stars, and we had Pink Stars also, but Purple Stars had a better ring to it, I think.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that was like our signature product that we were running for the longest time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted the title to be really, really in your face, and I think that's a lot of the reason why it got rejected. Not just the title, but just the stuff I put in there is just so like these literary agents. They were like, this is really interesting, but not for me, was like one of the most common things. And like some people were just straight up like, this is a lot to take in,
Like, how do we market this?
Are there any books that are kind of similar?
The only thing that is kind of similar, and I'm probably gonna talk a little bit of shit, but it's this book called Disco Bloodbath, which is with the movie Party Monsters based on.
Yeah.
And it's about this crazy dude in the 90s who was a really fucking toxic, destructive person and killed somebody and is now out of jail and shit. And
what was the name of that group?
Well, they were the club kids,
Club
but he
Kids,
was
yeah.
Michael Allig,
No,
and
yeah.
he worked at Limelight, which is a club that a lot of my friends used to go to and stuff like that. There were a lot of different promoters in there. I have another friend who used to do parties kind of competing with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he was a really toxic person, and his partner, like a guy that he worked with a lot, James St. James, wrote Disco Bloodbath, and it is so poorly written. I usually don't say things like that.
Yeah, because you're totally not a grammar Nazi at all.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like about your writing is you don't really go by like the rules of writing. You go by what is pleasurable to read.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The aesthetically pleasing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean half of it was unnecessary, and it really didn't read well. And when I looked through that, it kind of gave me confidence. I was like, man, I could definitely do something like this. But of course, they had a murder that people found very interesting,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure James St. James is a trust fund kid that could pretty easily get a literary agent. So, but yeah, it is. But that's the only thing that's really comparable, and that was years ago.
Right.
And there are some rave books here and there, but a lot of people that were in my position to do it talk about it, but none of them ever really do it. A lot of people are worried about the legal shit, but like, there's nothing really to worry about there.
Right.
Especially if you're not doing anything anymore.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, sweet, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So raveoutlaw.com is where people can pick up the book.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me plug it.
Yeah, dude. Really, anytime. This is all like very fascinating stuff. Yeah. So just come back and give us updates on how everything's going and the video game as well.
Hell yeah, dude.
Definitely.
Speaking of plugs, let's give a shout out to the Patreon.
Yeah, so if you go to patreon.com/punkrockllibertarians, you can help keep the lights on here in Anarchy Basement. Thank you. So if you contribute a minimum of $1 per month, you will gain access to our After Hours program, which we record right after this one. And also, we started a new thing now, or Phil did. He started a sports ball poll, right?
No, it's a fantasy football league.
Sports
We're
ball.
calling it sports ball.
Or fag ball? Or
Yeah.
What? Okay.
So
Fantasy football.
if you give, like Matt said, if you give a minimum of $1 a month, you get access to the Patreon and you get access to the fantasy league if you want to. You're not forced to play it.
This was an idea that last year I was a commissioner of a league. What had a few of you guys were in. I think Alex, Jared, you guys were in it, and it was a few of my other friends. And as a matter of fact, Alex came over to my place one time, and we were just talking. He was like, "Dude, you should have that for the group." And I was like, I had that thought, and he was just like, "Yeah, dude, just open up to the group." And then I was like, "Wait a minute." We'll open up to our Patreon subscribers first.
Well, you know what's funny? Like, Tim Davis has been talking about joining the Patreon like ever since it started. So
He finally did.
That's like 10 or 11 months ago.
Tim Davis.
Okay, and then
That's the Tim who signed up.
okay, yeah. So he signed up the day after you announced the sports ball poll.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
would Phil post?
So wait, did he create a fantasy team?
I don't know.
I'm sure he's gonna do it, dude. That's like
Tell
he
him,
signed up
dude,
the day
Tim
after,
Davis. Dude, you're in, man.
Well,
Yeah, I
Tim-
saw
Tim-
his name. I was like, oh shit.
There's
I
another
thought he was
Tim.
already
There's
there.
another Tim.
Yeah,
he's
and
awesome
then
too.
thanks Tim for joining. He's got
Yeah.
a generous donation that he's helping us out with.
Yeah.
So, I
So
mean,
yeah, the rule is you have to be, if you want to be in the sports ball fantasy league, you have to be a Patreon subscriber throughout the entire season. So you can't just sign up for 1 month and then cancel. You got to do it the entire duration. Or if you just want to give the equivalent in PayPal, you want to sign over like a minimum of at least
that's another
$12.
thing. We do have some people that are adverse to Patreon for good reason. They have done a bit of censorship.
Yeah.
Jared also accepts shekels through Jupal. Is it Jupal?
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, man.
Dude, he's been going hard lately.
Why must you be so problematic, man?
What, dude? I'm trying to be all inclusive, dude.
So, anyways, yeah, we do have a PayPal. You can just hit us up on Facebook, and I'll give you the email for that.
Sweet.
If you want to do it that way. But anyway, we appreciate it. So
Yeah,
thanks.
whoever wins this year, maybe we'll think of a prize.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
thinking of like some sort
Like
of
something.
maybe a hat, a shirt,
Yeah.
some sort of
Custom,
trophy.
man. It'd be pretty cool.
We'll host a party at Chuck E. Cheese's or something. For
Yeah, we'll have a draft party at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, like I mean, the possibilities are endless, but this is the inaugural year, so
Yeah, like Alexis, you're a big sports ball fan.
Fuck
So
yeah, man, I
you're
love
pretty excited about
yeah.
this. What do you have on your head? Is that a Steelers hat?
No, it's an
Or-
Eagles hat.
an
Wow,
Eagles
Wow,
hat,
you called it a
okay.
Steelers hat.
I don't know, dude. I don't pay attention to that shit.
yeah.
Yeah, those were the people that had their fans eating horse shit in the streets last year.
Yup.
Oh, cool.
That's the city I was born in.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
Wow.
so
sports ball.
in other news this week, we had to make the Punk Rock Libertarians Facebook group what is it, private or closed?
Closed.
Right.
It is closed
So-
for business.
It's
Okay,
not
so-
closed, but it's
No,
closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's a closed group. And, what that means was, well, first off, Facebook changed their algorithm. So they made it to where, like, your friends, your family, your coworkers, blah, 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 would be more likely to see your post in our group, and that kind of like scared a lot of people.
Yeah, originally I thought, because I knew that was the case, like right when we made the group, and we had talked about making it closed.
You just had like a Peter Brady thing, dude.
I did,
yeah.
And but I just thought, it might help to grow the group if people see that their friends are commenting in this group, and they're like, oh, let me join this group.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the other hand, while you should feel comfortable talking to this stuff, talking about this stuff with everybody, ideally, right? But sometimes you just don't want to. Sometimes you don't want your grandma seeing you talk about legalizing drugs or something,
Yep, I had that same experience happen to me recently, where a coworker who added me on Facebook was like,
well, that's the other thing.
He jokingly like said, like, oh man, I saw this post it came up on my fucking timeline. I was about to report that shit, and I saw it was you. And I was like, I should probably report it anyway. Ha ha ha. And I was like, okay, I deleted him from Facebook, and I was like, this has got to stop, because I mean, just the amount. I've actually had a lot of people too send messages and sit in like, just in the group, make posts saying like, hey, why don't we make this closed? There's a lot of trolls that people can see it. Anyone can see this group and go through what people are saying and just anonymously report it. Not just the algorithms, but
yeah. And then that was the other thing, was like we were getting a lot of people reporting stuff in the group, to the point where I believe at some point we got a warning of, if this keeps happening, our group can be deleted.
Yeah.
Now, I started this group in like 2009, and it's like so that's like 10 years now. Yeah, we don't want to see that. It'll be 10 years soon, I think, in like October, November, something like that.
Yeah, I think October, yeah.
The other thing, too, I noticed is like a lot of my friends that I've known for years that are libertarian are just like, what the fuck's going on with the page? It's just like these commie trolls and SJWs, and I thought this was like a libertarian, like a free thought of ideas and liberty. They're like, what's going on with this page? So now being a closed group.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because like, it's now I'm getting more about the mindset of just cleaning house, because I'm sick of seeing people like do stuff like, post a comment and call everybody in the group Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's like, one, if somebody's a Nazi, they're proud of it, right? People that say they're not Nazis they're just not Nazis. You know what I mean? A real Nazi is going to like own up to it.
Right.
There's just too much of this like fucking Nazi calling, and it's like, if you're in a group called Punk Rock Libertarians, you've got to at least be libertarian or interested in, what I mean? You can't just be in there to like fucking.
Yeah, there's people that are just on there to either just make fun of libertarians, argue against libertarians. And, obviously we don't want just an echo chamber. But
not even wanting to have a debate.
But
or
it's
even
like
a discussion.
Right. If you are like, hey, I've heard about libertarianism. I'm a Bernie supporter, but I'm curious what your guys' thoughts on this thing are.
Right.
Fine, but like if you're just like, fuck libertarians, and you're just going in to just cause hell, raise hell.
Yeah. And then,
it's like we don't really need that. It doesn't really help the group. It just pisses everybody off.
Yeah, I mean, and for me personally, it makes the group really tiring. And I sometimes when we go through periods like that where there's a lot of that, I just don't spend as much time in there, because I personally just think it's annoying. And that's just me. That's my opinion. And it's gotten to the point where it could shut down the group. So it's like at this point, if we want to have it on Facebook, I feel like we've got to get rid of some of these trolls, which annoy the shit out of me anyway. So oh well, I'm not going to cry too long.
Sorry, trolls and SJWs. The sign Punk Rock Libertarian said, it's closed group now.
Yeah, and I don't think this is an example of censorship, right? We're not kicking people out.
It's voluntary association. There's private.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could still censor somebody through voluntary association.
Yeah, be like, hey, man, like.
But what I'm trying to say is, we're not trying to censor people. It's not like, okay, this guy thinks that a wall is a good idea. I don't want that message in this group. I'm going to delete him.
It's not.
I disagree with it, but like that's the kind of argument that needs to take place in the group. If we start censoring those kind of people that I might disagree with.
Yeah.
Number one, it makes for an uninteresting group, because then it's everybody just agreeing with each other. Number two, if it's a bad idea, like I think it is, like building the wall or whatever, I want it to be out there. I want it to be out in the open so that people can see it, think about it, and then attack it if they want.
We can discuss things and see.
Right.
This kind of really escalated when there's this guy. I posted last week or 2 weeks ago. I posted this the live stream into a bunch of libertarian groups, and I think it was the Fakertarians group I posted it, and then some guy like a few days later commented, what kind of shitty band is this? Punks aren't libertarian. This is dumb. And like, he clearly didn't know anything about libertarianism or what. And so I was like, hey man, why don't you come in the group? It's not a band, you idiot. Come in the group and you can discuss this and tell everyone why we're a bunch of hypocrites. So I invited him in. He accepted, and he literally would just come in and just trash libertarianism like the Ayn Rand type of.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember.
His name's Chuck. And what I realized what he was doing is I clicked on his page, and he had a bunch of these like anti-Republican memes. But what he would do is he would take out the word Republican and switch it with libertarian and then post it in our group.
Yeah.
And he kept doing it left and right. And I was just like, you know what? I fucking had enough of this guy. Yeah. I brought him in. I'm taking him out.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like,
out.
okay,
Get
you're
the
out.
fuck out.
You didn't provide, and he just kept shit posting left and right.
You're not bringing anything to the table.
And then people got pissed at me
for
for
that.
that.
Get the fuck out. Like, just,
And then
no,
like,
he provides nothing to this conversation.
Yeah, and this all kind of goes along with some other shit that happened this week. So the other day, Phil messaged me and he said he's in Facebook jail, and I've been in Facebook jail tons of times.
You've done some hard time.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, well, dude, Phil's not in Facebook jail. He's just making this shit up for attention. Because if you're in Facebook jail, you can't message somebody, right? But no, apparently, like I got thrown in Facebook jail last night. Apparently, in new Facebook jail, you can still use Messenger. You just can't post on Facebook or like on Facebook.
Yep. And the thing is, so it all started, some guy posted in this group right after the shootings. It said, oh, white people are the problem for this. Like, ironically saying that. And it was a picture of a group of the FBI described mass shooters going back, I think, the last year or two. And it was half black people, half white people. And because a lot of the things going around were saying this is all white people with guns fault, blah blah blah. And so it was just a meme that countered that narrative. And Facebook sent us a message saying they took it down for hate speech. And so I figured it was probably the white people comment that got it taken down. So I screenshotted it, I crossed out where it said white people and posted it back in the group and said, what the fuck? Facebook took it down and said this violates the Facebook, whatever standards. And then like an hour later, it put it back as, sorry, we took a second look. We were wrong. And I was like, okay. And then a day later, it took it down again and said that, and then gave me a 24-hour Facebook ban. Then literally 2 hours later, it said, sorry, we made a mistake. We put it back up. And then I was still in Facebook jail looking at the same post that they took down. I'm looking at it. And it's still there, and they took it back down. So I couldn't even remove it from the group, and it was still up because I was afraid it was going to happen again. And then finally, the third time, they took it down, completely took it down after they had it up, and they sent us a warning in our group saying, if one of your admins is responsible for some type of on Facebook post or whatever. So
on Facebook
yeah,
that's very on Facebook of you.
Yeah,
Philip.
So it said it threatened our group, and I'm like, who keeps reporting this? So I saw the same meme with the same type of dialogue. There's this group called SJWs, and this girl she's she's the one who has this group, and so I posted in the under her in her group, I said this got taken down 3 times in Punk Rock Libertarians group. And she said, yeah, because you have a bunch of SJWs in there who are reporting things. And I'm like, kind of makes sense. We're a public group, and we have a bunch of leftists joining the group constantly here just trashing us.
So many commies.
So I think it was odd.
There have been so many helicopter rides since we went closed group now.
So there was a ton of I've seen the same meme shared with the same type of everyone says white people are at fault or white people are the problem. It's kind of the same kind of what's the word I'm looking comment with it, associated with it, and it wasn't taken down. But in our group 3 times now it was taken down. So I said, someone had to have been reporting it, I guess. So I figured closing the group would keep people from the outside who are just looking at shit, just
keep the infiltrators out,
and then just
building a wall.
Get rid of the people that are causing problems. I mean, there's a few people
building a virtual wall around
building a wall.
Dude, if you're an anarcho-syndicalist and you're challenging the ideas of capitalism with, even if you're kind of being kind of shitty about it, but at least you have some type of philosophy behind what you're saying, that's fine, right? It's just the people who are the commie trolls who are oh, libertarians love fucking kids, ha ha ha, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that shit's got to stop.
Yeah, just baseless insults.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So the moral of the story is we're making the PRL group.
Who put up
great
the
again.
question?
What was that?
I saw there was a question now you have to answer to join.
Oh.
I put that up.
Okay. So
The question is, what is taxation?
So I mean,
The answer is theft.
well, this one guy who keeps on trying to get in the group, he's been kicked out of. He's been kicked out of so many other groups because he provides nothing to the conversation, and he answered with theft!
Oh yeah.
Exclamation point. Ironically, but I denied it because I know who he is, and he keeps on. Him and his stock accounts keep trying to get back into our group, and I will not let him.
Right,
So nobody's responded. Is the price we pay to live in a civilized society?
Someone kind of did, and I should have
Get the fuck
screenshot
out.
it. I because I didn't know
Would
about
you
this question.
screenshot it and
Yeah,
post in the
because
group
it was
and
when I
say
first
no?
saw a question, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And I was just usually just prove everybody. I'll maybe sometimes if they look fishy, I'll check who
Let's
friends.
think,
are
now
in
we
the
can't
group
really
or-
do that. Now you have to look at like how many other groups are they in? What other
Yep.
groups are they in?
Or when do they join Facebook?
Or
So
when
one
they
guy
join
said
Facebook.
join Facebook 45 minutes ago. No, thank
Yeah.
you. Like,
I've heard about this new thing, Facebook, 45 minutes ago. Who the fuck's I been? Man, 20 years? What the fuck?
Right. Okay, so guys, that's about it for tonight. We're gonna take things on to the
Yeah,
after hours
let's do
program
it.
now. So, and if you want to meet us on over there, once again, go to patreon.com/punk rock libertarians, and for a minimum of $1 per month, you will gain access to our after hours. We also have T-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. If you type in the code PRL or the code PRL podcast, you will receive a 10% discount. Until next time, live free
or die.
point of personal privilege. Stop using gender terms too.